So in this question, it says the author of passage 2 would most likely respond to discussion of the future of space mining in lines 18 to 28 in passage 1 by claiming that such a future. All right, so let's see what that future looks like in passage 1, lines 18 to 28. So this is saying, within a few decades, these firms may be meeting earthly demands for precious metals, such as platinum and gold, and the rare earth metals vital for personal electronics, such as yttrium and lanthanum. But like the gold rush pioneers who transformed the western United States, the first space miners won't just enrich themselves. They also hope to build an off-planet economy free of any bonds with Earth, in which the materials extracted and processed from the moon and asteroids are delivered for space-based projects. Okay, so it's talking about like basically taking minerals and elements from these asteroids and using them either on Earth or kind of in an off-Earth economy for other things, space-based projects. Okay, now notice that this is a linked question, right? So we're going to try to find passage 2's reaction to that from the lines that we get or given in question 51. So let's start with A, lines 60 to 63, and see if this is a reaction to minerals or elements being extracted from space. So 60 to 63 says, part of this is about principles. Some will argue that space's magnificent desolation is not ours to despoil, just as they argue that our own planet's poles should remain pristine. So what I don't like here, we're trying to find passage 2's opinion, and here he says some will argue, right? This isn't even his opinion, right? He's just saying these are other people's opinions. So for that reason, I'm going to get rid of A. B says lines 674 to 76 says, the resources that are valuable in orbit and beyond may be very different to those we prize on Earth. So this is kind of reaction, saying that maybe the stuff that we get in space isn't going to be that valuable on Earth. Maybe. Let's keep it. C, lines 81 to 83 says, one speaker at last week's Space Mining Forum in Sydney, Australia, concluded with a plea that regulation should be avoided. Again, just like in the first one, this is one speaker at a forum in Australia. This isn't passage 2's opinion, right? So we're going to get rid of that. Lines 85 to 87 says, without consensus, claims will be disputed, investments risky, and gains made insecure. This is kind of making a comment on space mining too, right? It's saying if we don't figure out some regulation for this, it's going to be really hard to figure out, okay, who owns the stuff that we're getting in space? Why should I make an investment if I don't even know if I own stuff, right? So that could be it too. So again, B says that the stuff that we get in space won't be as valuable to us on Earth, and D is saying we need some regulation before we go into space. So let's try to find an answer in 50 that matches either one of those. So A says, is inconsistent with the sustainable use of space resources. That doesn't really fit either, right? Because it's not saying that the elements in space are going to be different in value on Earth, or that we need regulation. B says will be difficult to bring about in the absence of regulations. Oh, I think you could even stop here because that fits perfectly with D, but let's just make sure. Let's look at C. Cannot be attained without technologies that do not yet exist. Again, our two options, B and D, don't talk about technology, so I would get rid of that. And D says, seems certain to affect Earth's economy in a negative way. Yeah, even though that B did talk about our economy and how we're going to value the space resources, it doesn't necessarily say it's going to be negative. It just says it's going to be different, right, than the value in space. So I think what we saw before, question 50 should be B, will be difficult to bring about in absence of regulations, and that's supported by D in 51, that we need some kind of consensus so that investments aren't risky and claims won't be disputed.